Real lives, real people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to this week's episode of the Non-Identity Podcast. Now, this week we're joined by a mindfulness architect. It's Manpreet. Hi, Manpreet. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lee. Thank you for having me. I'm so looking forward for our conversation, especially when we met a few months ago and then we had some hiccups to get here. So glad to be here.
The wonderful world of podcast today. Before we get into what you actually do, can you just explain to everyone who you are and where you grew up and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Manpreet. I grew up in India. And into a middle income class family, which I was getting up, it quickly went to the lower middle class. My dad had a business that at one point when we were born was doing very well, and then it started to decline with shift. So we had to shift a lot of businesses, and so we, as a family, we struggled through, but it was a good time. So I grew up in India. At the age of 23, I went to United States. Just like anybody who grows up in a middle income family where the resources are few and your dreams become bigger, you want to do big things. So I ended up in the US thinking that I was gonna make a lot of money, make a lot of change. I was in the IT industry, computer in software development. So I wanted to do big things in software development, and I went in US. I spent my 10 years there, where I worked in corporate world. I worked in a lot of different places, in the sense I did the blue collar jobs. I did pizza delivery, worked in gas station. So I got to see a lot of different size of culture, work, different states I lived in. And then after 10 years, I moved back to India again because my parents were still in India. I wanted to spend some time. And then in 2013, an opportunity came for the company I was working in. They wanted to start operations in the UK. They had started something, but they needed more people. So I jumped on it. And so since 2013, I've been in the UK. I still have my full-time job in the IT world, where I help the company I work for drive sales for for them. But I think around COVID or just before COVID, I was feeling I was coming to a place of reflection, which I think was happening across the world. People were feeling that shifts in the energy. I started to feel like I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't, there was dissatisfaction in the level of money, but there was a lot more bigger dissatisfaction of not being happy with what I had. I reflected back and looking when I was in 24-year-old, I was pumping gas and petrol in the petrol stations in the United States. I was a lot more happier. I was eating £1 burger or $1 burgers at that time, and I was a lot more happier than where I could actually afford to have full course meals in the restaurant. So it made me question, like, what is it that I forgot in the way that I'm not enjoying what I'm doing? And I realized one of the things I realized was that my dream to do big had expired in the IT, like in that field. Felt like because I did not put in, or I could not pursue whatever XYZ reasons, it had expired and I no longer had something to pursue. And living in a culture where you go from next moment to next thing to next promotion to home, getting married, getting kids, buying bigger home, bigger car, come to a place, when does it all stop? When does that next stop for you to enjoy? Between all this going in, I one day found myself questioning that if I were to die tomorrow, what would people talk about me? And it was a sad truth to see that there was not a lot. Yes, I had done well in my life for myself, my family, and everybody around me. But outside that, I couldn't point anything, and I decided that I wanted to change that. I didn't want to live like that. I knew that I came here for more. I did not just come here to earn living, just make family home, like the normal basic things, which are important. But there comes a time in your life and you realize, okay, it's done. I can do something bigger. I can do something that is not about me. And that's when I started um, looking into what I could do. And one thing led to another, and mindfulness became the thing because it allowed me to um, connect with myself at deeper levels. And I said, okay, I wish I knew that 20 years ago. And so that I could have lived those 20 years more mindfully. And when I spoke to the friends and people around me, they were in the similar boat. And I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to start talking about it more.
How do you go into like researching, if you in a way say mindfulness? Like, is it a lot of work on the internet? Is it a lot of speaking to people? And how did it click for you that that was definitely your chosen area that you wanted to pursue more going forward?
Yeah, great question there. So there is no one answer fit all. What worked for me was I knew that I wanted to find out what I enjoy, right? I knew I wasn't enjoying my work. I mean, it wasn't like I was at a toxic workplace or a toxic relationships. Everything was good, but I was still not enjoying. So what I started to look was, first, I started to look back in my life. What were the things that made me happy? Like I really enjoy doing, and I started doing those things along again and see if I was still find that connection. And there were not many things that I could remember that I could do. Then um, I started looking what are people doing, like what are industry teaching, what is, and somehow I kept listening or coming across this message, go within. But I did not understand what go within means. I have never thought. Um, and so I came across just exploring. What I kept myself open was that I'm going to try. I'm not going to decide without trying, without experiencing that. Yeah, this is not for me. So I was going to at least try it once. So around that time, as I was investing, reading books, coaching, I was, anything that came across me, I was doing it, whether it was mindset, motivational speaking, Tony Robbins, Sadhguru. So it was, anything in between. I was just hopping on to it constantly on YouTube, podcasts, audiobooks. And so I came across meditation. And so I started to meditate. I've heard about it, but I never knew what it was. I got conscious, and it was hard in the beginning to set close eyes 5 minutes and then listen to your own thoughts about, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. But it was just those small steps, like one step and led to another. The more I started to practice meditations, the more I started to know myself. I started to see the things that that were like a bigger ego in me, like they were not true. I just made up. So with meditations, also investing into a lot of books, a lot of workshops that allowed me to understand meditation and going within better. And so as I was doing this, I had hired a coach. I was working with a coach to help me do something on the side, start business. I wanted to do some work where I could create something meaningful. In the beginning, I was going to start an IT company because that's all I knew. It was not meditation. Meditation was for me to know who I am. And but the thing was, as I would meditate, my visions would be, I am uplifting people, I am empowering people, I'm going on stages and talking to people and showing this thing. And even though those people worked in my company, but all my vision was there. And one day I was like, wait a minute, if all I wanted one, I enjoy meditations. I enjoy that going within, knowing, finding more truth, more. So I am enjoying that one. Two, that's all I see I want to do. Why am I building this IT company in the middle to do it? And when that happened, I was like, okay, no more IT company. I'm just going to go straight. I don't know how will I get it there. I didn't know the steps, but I just started talking to people. I, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to come? I picked up phone. I messaged 10 friends. And I said, okay, I want to start a group where we can help each other grow. And I'll share what I've learned from my experience and what I'm doing, and we'll just grow together. And so that's started basically my journey, but it was just leaning into one small step to another. And some of the things that did not work just fell off in the main. But I did not know if somebody asked me, did I know I was going to do this? No, it wasn't my plan. My plan would have been creating an IT company, because that's all I knew. I did 20 years of that, and that's all I knew.
Changing over from obviously what you said into the unknown, what's been the biggest challenges along your journey so far?
Biggest change is being okay with the unknown, being okay with being nobody, starting from like you don't know where, and getting your ego hurt, because when you have 20 years of career success and then you think like you're gonna post online. Like in the beginning, I started posting on LinkedIn, zero views, or some friends would here and there like it. Creating videos in YouTube, not many views. I even launched my own podcast, not many downloads beyond like first few weeks, a few months of it. So that accepting that I had to relearn. This is scratch, zero, from zero. I'm nobody here. That was the hardest lesson, like accepting, because the ego was like, what are you doing with this? Like, you're wasting your time. Every time somebody said no, or I decided to do something that failed, didn't go the way I wanted it to be. It was hard to face that reality. And my ego just kept shaming me, like, you're not good at it, you're bad. So there were so many times I wanted to give up those things, but it's just realizing that this is new. I have not done it before. It's going to take repetitions for me to get there. So that was hard to learn and accept.
Exactly. And what's been one of your highlights of your journey so far?
I'm able to recognize patterns. I'm able to bring in the difference between myself and my ego. Um, I'm able to see when there is a fear that I'm not doing something out of the fear. I'm able to make a distinction whether it's out of the fear or I actually do not want to do, because that in the beginning, it can be all mixed. You don't know whether you're not acting because of the fear, or it's just you just don't want to do it. And we live in a culture where there are so many online gurus and all. They teach you, just push it through, force it, you'll overcome it. Yeah, there is that you want to commit and you want to be disciplined, but not at the cost of exploiting your own soul. Like, there are things that you're not ever going to be happy about, no matter how much you push, no matter how much success you get through it after pushing it. So that for me is a big sense of, I don't want to say achievement, but knowing that I can do that. I still have days, or I still learn that balancing between when I need to keep pursuing, and when I need to letting go. So I'm where I can find, there are days where I can find that balance, and there are days where I struggle with it, but I at least know that. So for me, that is a biggest benefit to myself, that I at least am learning about myself when I'm um, just holding on unnecessarily, and when I'm letting it go too easily.
What's the plan for the future? Have you got any plan where you want to take this?
Right now, where I am, Lee, I wanna. One of the things I constantly hear from within is just keep working on it, keep working on it. I don't know. There's a part of me, the part who is in the corporate, who likes plans, who likes goals, who likes end results. That part of me wants to do big, wants to be massive in YouTube in terms of messaging, massive in creating some sort of course that creates income. So that there's a part of me that's there, but then there is also a part of me where when I am there, I'm very peaceful. I don't care. Like it does not matter what happens because I know um, I am just living in this moment, and this moment is that matter. As long as I can enjoy this particular moment, the next I will see when the next happens. So I'm not rushing to the next moment. But and I live in between those two. Like there are moments where I'm, oh, I want to do this, do this, do this, or like I missed our meeting last few weeks back, and I felt bad, and I was like, oh shit, I missed it. And then it took me a while. Okay, it's okay. It just happened. Rather than shaming, I just need to make it up for it. So my goal or my desire is to that if I can uh, one live in the moment myself, and two if I can show it to maybe one more person that there is a different way, and that is all. And that one person may become 1,000, may become 10,000. I don't know. I'm curious to see what it unfolds into it. I am at a place, like I said, I'm nobody right now, so I'm just, yes, I have goals and desires, but I'm equally very open and curious to see how it unfolds. Only because over the first 20 years or 40 years of my life, I mean, 20 years of my career, I have driven it myself. Like I have just been so focused to drive it. I'm at a place where I don't want to force it. I want to see how it unfolds. Like I want to become curious and open to where it takes
I
me.
think that's an amazing attitude to have because, in a way, I was a bit like that. I know it's different circumstances, but as I
Yeah.
explained off camera about my wife and her stroke, and I spent 6 to 8 months wishing life was like it was before the stroke. And that's what, when I went to cancer, that's what I kept getting told, just live for the moment. And then I was trying to rebel against it because I was like, but if the moment's rubbish, what's there to live for? And I think my counsellor, he explained it so well. He was like, you're not getting yesterday back. Even if it was a
Yeah.
really good day, you're still not getting that experience back. So a lot of people will dwell on the past about bad times, but even good times you don't get
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And he said you can't worry about the future because that hasn't happened yet. So just deal with what's in front of you today. And
Mm.
since I've been following that kind of mindset, and like you said, you have your good days and your bad days. It's not,
Mm.
oh yeah, I'm going to think like that, and that's it. It's going to be great
Mm.
all the time. It has really helped me enjoy. And the same with the attitude, like with this podcast. At first, I was like, right, I want a podcast and I want to get thousands of views and everyone
Mm.
wants to be on my show. And now I've got the attitude, if one person listens and it helps them, then I've done what I wanted to do.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
having a real good experience and a real good journey meeting people
Mm.
like yourself. So I just hope if anyone is watching, they're having the
Mm.
same experience. And it's made me enjoy this process so much more. I think
Mm.
that was a really good bit of advice,
Yeah.
really, for everyone.
Yeah.
If people do want to reach out and connect with you, how can they do that?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn. So that's one place at the rate. So LinkedIn is at the rate the Manpreet Bawa. I'll share the link. So that's where they can reach out. That's where they can connect and chat or have conversation. The other place I have is YouTube, where I post one video a day, and I'm just creating a bite-sized video, 1 minute video, less than 1 minute sometimes, and I post it a day, and that's where I'm sharing what is coming through or happening. I say one thing about you, just like having this conversation, I felt in your presence such a warmth. Like I know everybody has their own struggles, but in this moment, like I saw you becoming fully available, and so I just want to appreciate you doing that because it calmed me, like settled
Well,
me
thank
down, having that beautiful smile and sharing your time. It was really pleasant for me to be in your presence.
No, brilliant, thank you. Well, unfortunately, we are coming to the end soon, but I've got one last question, and this is a question I ask every guest.
Yeah.
Your answer will not change your life journey so far, but if you had 30 seconds with your 13-year-old self, what would you say?
I would say you're okay. You're doing good. Yeah, not to worry, because a lot of times I used to think, oh, I wish I could change, but now I'm coming to place I could not have changed. Like I picked up some realities. There was multiple options, but I picked up, and because I picked that up, I came here. We wouldn't have, if I picked one single thing differently in those, we wouldn't have that conversation. So knowing that, I would say you're okay. Whatever you're thinking, doing, you're okay.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time as well. And I'd love for you to come on in about 6 months' time and see how further along your journey are. Please stay in touch, and thank you for being such a brilliant guest.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you for having me. And yes, definitely we'll keep in touch.